I heard about the internship in spiritual direction from my own spiritual director. She had come here 3 to 5 years ago for training. And as we were discerning together my own sense of call to spiritual direction, she recommended that I might look at the program at Mercy Center.
It was actually a student of Mercy Center from years ago who was in my Stephen ministry class where I was teaching spiritual formation, who first told me about the real tangible concept of spiritual direction.
One of the sisters that summer was attending this program here at the Mercy Center for Spiritual Directors. And I'd thought about for a number of years learning more about spiritual direction. And so I eagerly soaked up every book she was reading and every word she said when she came back. And so that was my hope, is that someday I could come to this program. And in the meantime, I met a number of people who went to the summer program or the 3-year program. And always they were talking about the amazing experience and the opportunity and what they had learned and how grateful they were. So I was really excited when I got the opportunity to come for this summer.
There was something more that I felt on the edges of my experience that wanted attention. And a friend who was experienced with the program here at Mercy Center suggested to me several months before this program started that maybe I should consider looking at the program. And so he planted this little seed here. And of course, there was no way in my life that this could possibly happen. I mean, how could I take a month out of my schedule? How could I pay for the program? How could I make up for the lost income for not working that month? And in a series of circumstances, I feel God arranged things, brought people into my life, opportunities into my life that simply cleared the way and opened the path for me to come here.
In my role of working with clergy, one of the things that I have discovered is how many of them have a spiritual life that really is very, very dry or very, very non-fulfilling and empty. And so one of my goals in pursuing the internship in spiritual direction would be that I would perhaps be able to go back and become a better listener and a better friend to the clergy as they seek their own spiritual path and their own nurturing and relationship with God. I think that's vital for those who are practicing religious to have cultivated good spiritual practices. And certainly I found for myself some new experiences here that I will be able to share as a part of that experience.
I live on the North California coastline, and before I came, I went to the beach where there is a lot of the rough-hewn glass, the ocean glass, and I picked up a baggie's worth of the glass and thought it was a symbol that I wasn't sure what it would mean to me while I was here, but I knew somehow that I needed to bring that large handful of glass along. And it was during the supervision part of the training over the last few weeks that suddenly I knew what that symbol was to mean for me. That the process had done some tossing of me as a human up against, yes, some rocks and some sand. And yes, it hurt at times, and yet it grew me and refined me and softened my edges.
The learning style works well for me, that it's very small bits of lecture and reading, but then small groups or real plays or journaling or dyads. So the learning style is really mixed up, and it gives me the opportunity to, if I don't get it this way, I get it this way, or I get it this way. So 2 weeks of getting the basic information I need and starting to put it into practice doing spiritual direction with peers. And then actually doing spiritual direction with directees has given me the opportunity, especially with the supervision, to try it out, reflect on it, get information and supervision around it, and then try it out, reflect some more, do supervision. And so it's really given me the opportunity to look at where my strengths are and where my growing edges are.
The instructors in the Mercy Center program have been really a delight. And for me, the rich diversity of backgrounds that I've experienced here has been wonderful. The two coordinators have been very helpful. Both Gary Schmidt and Catherine Regan have been wonderful in putting together a very competent team of faculty to work with us in the internship. And then to have not only the ecclesiastical diversity, but also to have the spiritual diversity that we've had among our faculty has been a really rich experience. Each of them has brought different understandings of their understanding of prayer. Each of them has brought a different experience of their own walk in grace and their own spiritual life. Each of them, as a spiritual director, has also brought some ways that are permission-giving on how one goes about considering doing spiritual direction.
I've been to all kinds of training programs. I had a 20-year career in business and industry before I moved into a more meaningful part of my life. So I've been to training programs, I've been to seminars, I've been to all kinds of things. I've been to spiritual retreats. I've never been to anything like this. And one of the things that impressed me the most was the willingness of the staff to be completely honest and transparent in their own spiritual process. They presented certain content, certain information for which they were the experts, but never acted as an expert, never acted as a professor or an experienced presenter who stands up on a podium and tells you like it is. It was all from the heart, all from their own experience. And when they would model for us those sessions of spiritual direction or supervision, not role plays, but as they call them, real plays, I was stunned at the depth of the honesty that the staff would reveal to all of us about themselves.
The pacing of this month and the pacing of the program and how it's outlined feels both like almost too much crammed into a short period of time, and at the same time, such a broad and rich experience and opportunity. So each day I could go back to my room at night and say, I've learned this, I've learned this, I've learned this, I've learned this. You know, that's amazing that each day I learned something new. And with that, the time flew by. And at the same time, I know that it's just the tip of the iceberg, that I have so much more to learn. And this is a really solid grounding in that initial experience.
The experience here has been so welcoming, as the participants in the internship were all so unique, so different in so many ways, and yet there's a safety here and an invitation to really be transparent and be who we are, and thus we can each go deeper and have a new knowing of who we are called to be in Christ. And then that expands out and is seen in the staff and their stories, and in the retreatants, the directees who come. It's a very precious and freeing experience to be able to see Christ in each other and to really be who we are and to feel safe and included.
And I really am grateful that Mercy Center and this program has provided such a rich diversity in its program that's equipped me to go back now and re-enter with a different kind of listening, a different kind of being, and certainly a different kind of relationship with God.
I'm struck time and time again by what a gift Mercy Center is. The openness of the nuns who live here, and many of them have lived here for decades and must have gone through so many changes in their lives, in the community around this place, and in the world outside. And they are amazingly open, inclusive, and loving, and that presence is felt, at least by me, on every square inch of the place. I know this is somewhere that I will be drawn back to time and time again.